This is Leah with Backyard Homestead in Starkville, Mississippi, and we're out in the garden this morning. And the first thing we're going to pick are these blackberries. And this is the blackberry vine that's by our shed. And there's a bunch that are ready on it, and there's some that are ready also on the trellis out front, and I'll show you that. Those hadn't been ready until yesterday, and now I think there's several that are ready to pick. But these are huge and gorgeous. These are the biggest blackberries, and they're sweet and delicious. So I'm about to pick these, and I'll come back and show you what we get. Turns out the chickens like the blackberries about as much as they like the strawberries. They get real interested when I come over here and start picking these. Okay, and this is our trellis in the front. It's hanging with berries, and there's a bunch of them turning now. But look at all these, look at this swath of berries on this. I mean, an insane number of berries on these. These barely made any last year. I mean, just enough to have a little handful to nibble on, but they made up for it this year. All right, got a big nice bowl full of them, and I'll do a weigh-in later on these. But pretty nice for the first real picking. This is our little patch of onions that we were going to leave and let go to seed, and they're doing well, but some of them are getting so big and pretty. Look at that. We may be eating that guy. We've got enough of the others going to seed. We may go ahead and harvest a few of these. Big and pretty. And these are the candy onions, the white candy onions. This is our corn patch. It's looking really nice. This is Silver Queen sweet corn. Looking beautiful. We're going to hill this up today, do our final hilling, and then we can mulch this. We've been waiting until we could do a final good hilling on it, and then we'll get in here and mulch this afternoon. We've got okra seeds started. This is the Clemson spineless okra. We've got it started in cups, and it's getting almost big enough to set out. And this is our second planting of squash, the yellow straight neck squash. And then we've got some zinnia seeds started in flats. Some just set around in the garden for some color and to attract some pollinators. And our potatoes, these are the red Pontiac potatoes, and they're doing great. Some of them are starting to fall over, but nowhere near ready to harvest on them. The foliage hasn't started dying back at all. But they're looking healthy and good. Hopefully they're making lots of nice potatoes under there. But pleased so far with growing the potatoes in buckets. These are the peppers that we have not set out into the garden yet, and these are the ones that we topped out, and they are starting to put out a lot of side branches. So I think we're gonna like them, like topping them and letting them get bushy. Yeah, there's a really good one up here that we set this one in one of the pots on the patio, and it's really leafing out. So I think we're going to be pleased with this. Probably going to be the new way we do peppers. Again, first year we've tried it, but looks like they're bushing out. Doing well. These are our eggplant we have set out over here. And every year we get these little flea beetles. And this is the flea beetle damage. They just make tiny holes in the leaves. We don't do anything about it except go through and scrape them off. And usually, eventually, the plant will outgrow the flea beetles. And it's doing it this year, but they're kind of a pain. They make the plants look ugly for a while. Okay, this is our area with our squash, and these plants are getting big and beautiful and gorgeous. These are our Roma tomatoes, and I need to tie them again. I've only tied them once, but they're getting tall again. I need to tie them up. And I am going to pick our cucumbers now, and this is our first cucumber harvest of the year. We've got some real pretty ones. Just the right size. Beautiful. So I'll go through and harvest all these cucumbers now, and I'll come back and show you what we got. This is the Siberian kale that I picked back to that 1 or 2 leaves about a week ago, and it's already flushed back out, and we're picking it again today. Alan's down on the other end harvesting it, so we'll get the canner going again today. But this kale's done really well this year. Not a bad harvest for our very first picking, and just like everything else in the garden, once you start picking, it seems like the the first picking might not be huge, but the subsequent pickings get larger and larger. It seems to spur on more growth and more fruiting once you start picking it. So, and these cucumbers we'll have to pick every day. They make really fast. This is our Siberian kale harvest, and I'll carry it in and weigh it a little bit, but it's a healthy batch, and we just picked it down to nothing. It may have been 2 weeks ago, but about a week, I guess closer to 2 weeks ago. Let me show you the plants. And we picked it down just to 2 leaves per plant again, and we did that last time, and it grew back within about 2 weeks, where we had to pick it again. Now on this side of the garden, this is our red Russian kale, and we're about to do the exact same thing to it. Pick it all the way down to about 2 leaves, and I think I saw 1 or 2 plants that's starting to bolt. We're probably going to go ahead and pull the plants that are bolting, but pick the rest of them down just to 1 or 2 leaves. And we'll come back and show you how this looks when we're done. So this is the row, good and full, in between our cauliflower and our onions, completely filled with this red Russian kale. And I'll come back and show it again after we pick it heavy. This is our chair full of red Russian kale, and this is our chair full of Siberian kale. So I'll be canning either this afternoon or tomorrow. And this is what the row of the red Russian kale looks like after we picked it heavy. And what we're going to do is go back in between each of these red Russian kale, well, as often as we can, and plant a pepper plant that we've got potted in the cups over there, as we're just having to transition from the winter and spring crops to our summer crops, and because we have limited space, we just have to kind of fit it in where we can. So we're going to go back in between each of these red Russian kale plants and plant a pepper plant. Now this whole row was where we had our Hilton cabbage, and we've been harvesting these and eating them along the way, and we only have 3 left, so we're going to pick those right now. So I'm going to pick these and peel off the outer leaves and give them to the girls and see how much we get out of that. This is pretty fun. The girls are having a party over here. All the bad leaves or the cabbages that had started to bolt we're throwing over for the girls to share. And they are enjoying this. It's like a big old salad buffet. Alright, this is our garlic patch. And it is terrible. We tried planting it under the pear tree this year, just trying something new, trying to make the most of the space that we have. But the garlic looks like it's going to be really, really poor. But we're going to harvest today because it's all bent over and the foliage is starting to die. So we're going to go in and harvest this today. I mean, they're not horrible.
Yeah, they are.
We gotta dig.
They're terrible.
They're terrible. They're tiny, but it'll still taste like garlic, and we know now that this doesn't work. But we'll go through and harvest these, show you what we got. Okay, I'm about to pick these sugar peas now, the Oregon sugar pods. And they don't seem to be making quite as much as they were. I mean, there's still some on here, but I think these are finally slowing down, but we sure have enjoyed them. Definitely slowing down. Not many at all today, but maybe they're just taking a little break and they'll gather up and maybe make some more later. We're going to leave them about maybe another week, week and a half, and if they start producing, great, and if not, we'll go ahead and get them out of the way and plant some climbing green beans there. Alright, now I'm going to go through and pick green beans. Look like I've got several ready to pick, so maybe it'll be good harvest of green beans. I'll come back and show you what we get. So for today's harvest, we got 5.95 pounds of bush green beans, 7.38 pounds of Siberian kale, 13.45 pounds of red Russian kale, 0.94 pounds of blackberries, 0.84 pounds of squash, 1.57 pounds of cucumbers, 0.36 pounds of snow peas, and 2.13 pounds of the Hilton cabbage. We harvested our garlic, but it wasn't very big and it wasn't very impressive. I'm still going to try to save it, but it's very, very small, but we don't weigh it in until after it's dried and we remove all the greens. But had a meager little garlic harvest. None of the heads turned out really big, but it'll still taste like garlic. There's a couple moderately decent ones, but nothing like we're used to getting. But this is today's garden harvest. Thanks for watching.